Hey, oh my
Hi.
God. I don't think I've talked to you in like 2 or 3 months.
It has been since our last, I think, soul chat. So you look amazing. You look still Christmassy.
Well, Christmas is over, so I don't know if that's good or bad.
I think it's amazing.
You know what? You know what I think is amazing is when I discovered lipstick because I was always super resistant to lipstick, like straight up. I did not like it at all. I was like screw lipstick, screw makeup. And when I discovered that like I was okay with it, what a way to take from bed clothes into like street clothes. Because I was like, man, I still got to shower. You know what? What if I throw my hair up and I put on some lipstick, then I look put together?
Oh my gosh, that is amazing.
Even Zoom feels like it. It gave me the
Right?
thumbs up. Yeah. Thank you for giving me, Christmas vibes.
Love it. Love it. No,
Man,
you look cozy with your little white jacket. It looks like, you're gonna go frolic a bit. So
I'll
we're
take
gonna frolic
cozy.
a bit. Yeah.
I'll take cozy because we just hit 40 degrees today, and we're going to be like lows in the 40s, highs in the 60s this week in Houston.
Oh,
But like
beautiful.
last week, it was like highs in the 80s. So like, full get up, and I'm even hot. I have my fan on because I was like, I'm actually hot. Oh well, you got a tank top on, but
That's right. You're
that's
like,
how you roll.
I'm hot. I'm hot.
Oh my god! Oh my god! Oh my god! Well, welcome to Soul Chats.
Yes.
I actually just had somebody yesterday. They were like, "Oh, I see. Like you haven't really put up anything on YouTube or Spotify, or haven't really been on social media lately." And I'm like, "Oh, that's a whole thing in a good way." Um, and then I had this nudge to reach out to you, and I'm like, "Oh, well, here we go. Here's another YouTube and Spotify that's going up."
Perfect.
So, how
Well,
have you been? Go ahead. What were you gonna say?
I was going to say before we get into like the topic of conversation, are you doing your retreat? Tell everybody and me about what's developing
Ooh,
there.
well, this might not be short,
Oh,
but it's
okay.
not bad. But basically, I don't remember, I don't think this was part of the update last time. But since we last talked, I now work full time. And I haven't worked full time shit for like 5 years, like I quit my sales job and I quit full time and I've been going after my own thing for these past few years. And then just short of a year ago, it was March of last year, I took a coaching role, which I've coached on and off my entire like entrepreneur career. And so I do health coaching and I was doing that part time. Well, an opportunity for full time came up and I went ahead and said, okay. Now, hey, that wasn't with some ego blows. There was definitely some ego blows. And I think that my story that I'm sharing here really ties into our topic today because
Yeah.
there's some things I think will tie in that I don't even know yet. Um, but yeah, so here's the thing. Here's what I realized. And you may understand this too, because I feel like we've talked about this offline a little bit. But for me, going full time, I realized really quickly how much time I don't have.
Right.
Like my job is not super demanding. I like it. I coach 18 to 20 people a day. But like after that, I'm like, what do I really want to do with my time? And how do I want to run a business? And I can see now all the different ways that I have tried to control my business or control outcomes or needed things to come in a certain way or happen a certain way. And when they didn't, I was upset. But then I can also see all the ways that I tried. And if you notice the language in which I'm telling this story, you'll see kind of like the root cause of all of this, right? Like I have tried so hard for 20 years to build a business and to be successful. Like I wanted nothing else than to be a successful entrepreneur. And for me, success meant I was able to make money that was livable income. That's been like my thing that I've said for so long. And so when I went into this role, uh, I was excited because the company I work for has been really great and I've grown a lot from it and I've learned a lot. It's made me a better coach, a better human. And even when it comes to soul chats and things like this, like the past 3 years of my life, I've lived very much in the spiritual metaphysical realm, which I've loved. But now in this job, not every conversation brings that in. So seeing how the two, like the 5D and the 3D, come together, and it just, I feel like it's helped me to step into this next evolution of my business and who I am, and even let's just say my soul path in a way. Because when it comes to the retreat, I was thinking, I'm like, okay, I really want to do that, and it's April. But what I discovered is that I had put a monthly regular occurring presence circle on the calendar.
Yeah.
Okay. And so I had one in December, and then I had them coming up actually supposedly today. And then
Here it is.
yeah, next month and then March, I had three on the calendar, and I had one person who had said yes to it. And I think it was about a week and a half ago, I was like, oh shit, I gotta like tell people about that. And it just the whole like marketing and like constantly promoting things. I was like, I don't want to do that anymore. How
Yeah.
can I make this easier on myself? And I've been a little bit MIA, and I think some of it has just been related to what I shared and so many other things. So I feel in my gut, in my knowing, that the retreat in April is probably not, doesn't make sense to keep because with everything else that I can feel energetically with the way my business is going and what I'm feeling unfolding, it feels too soon, right?
Mhm.
I don't want to be in this position where it's March 28th and I'm like, oh my God, I gotta promote a retreat.
Right. Yeah.
So, and that's not really how I feel about it, but I guess it's just I'm reevaluating everything. Um, Thank you for asking, but I think it's interesting to be able to share this stuff because I've lived this idea that business is supposed to look a certain way, that as an entrepreneur, I mean, we can definitely pull in the spiritual aspect to it as well, but I feel like as an entrepreneur, I had certain expectations of how it was supposed to look for me or different milestones I felt like I was supposed to live up to. And even just having the presence circle today with one person, the old version of me would have rushed around and tried to figure out how to fill that so I didn't look like an idiot for the one person. But this time I called that one person. I said, hey, things are changing, things are evolving. I'd love to evolve with you. Like, how can we make this work for both of us? And
Mhm.
there's a really beautiful conversation evolving from that. And that's something I'm super grateful for because coming out of that, it was like, wow, this feels nourishing. Like, that's how I think that's what's becoming clear to me is how I want business to feel is like nourishing, fun, and spacious is a big word for me right now.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah.
so that was a really long answer with so many layers, but also,
I hope people were paying attention to every one of those words because this is such a big thing going on energetically. We've been talking about it I, I have for a year, right? Of this retreat. We had the hermit year in tarot, even from the numerology standpoint. Like this idea that things can change, should change. And, I really feel like there's like this direction of where we're supposed to be moving our spiritual practices into. And it's hard because it is like, but I had these plans, right? And does spirit care whether or not we had what about spirit's plans? And like, and I do feel like there is a huge shift right now where to me it feels like I mean we talked about this a little bit last time that my readings are shifting like the way that spirit is coming across in communication with me now is not so much like, here, let me give you the secret answers to the universe, right? It's more like, sit down and have a conversation and we'll participate with you, right? And so instead of spirit directing, it's almost like they want us to be in the director's seat and they will participate now. And that's really cool and beautiful, but it is scary to realize we are in control, right? And to have both this I am in control and yet I feel out of control at the same time. Like it's crazy. Yeah, I love it.
Yeah, it's been, I think, I don't know how much, I know I've shared part of some of this stuff publicly in different ways, and I don't remember what's been shared publicly, but it feels like now's the time to share another piece of it is that, these past couple years have been really, really, really hard for me emotionally, mentally, and a lot of it's been tied to financial insecurity
Mhm.
and identity around money and debt and things like that. And even now, I can feel my emotions. Like for anybody watching the video, or maybe you can also feel it energetically because you're into this stuff listening. But like, I'm even feeling like this emotion coming up as I say that because it just has been. It's been really hard, and like It's really amazing when I look back on these past couple years that as my relationship with money and debt um, continued and unfolded, and I learned more things about myself, it is really amazing that because of that connection with spirit, how beautiful some of the experiences that I was a part of, both through readings and teaching people how to open and read the Akashic records for themselves, and cacao ceremonies and energetic clearings, like the things that I've done over the past 2 years, it really is quite amazing how, I kind of hesitate to say this word, but like how pure those experiences felt despite what was going on in my personal life.
Hmm.
Um, I'm not going to lie and say that there wasn't some of that that maybe was a part of it. I mean, I don't know. I'm human. I'm sure it was still like in my field,
Totally,
but
yeah.
also like with what you said about spirit leading you. That's kind of like me being the Akashic nomad and the Akashic record keepers. What am I doing today? And what's the next step? And all of that and all the magic that came from that. But also now it's so much more co-creation,
Hmm.
right? And the my relationship with my business side of me is kind of lagging my personal side of me. The personal side of me has come to a lot more peace around the money and the debt and the identity around that. And then the business side of me is kind of like has been lagging a few months where
Well,
it's,
but I'm going to interrupt you and ask you this question though.
yeah,
But what was the end goal of the business that you are not getting now?
an idea of what I thought it would be, honestly. And a lot of it, I thought I would be more successful by now. I thought I would have a healthy business. I thought I would make money that I could live from. See, that's like that same word. I
But you are
thought
making money that you are living from, and you
from a different
are
source.
correct. Yes, yes. Right, right, right. But why is, I mean, I get it because I also love the idea of the financial independence of not having a boss, of not having to have a, set schedule. Like there are a lot of things about the working world I don't love that I would love to shift. But at the same time, like when I look at what my goals of a business would be, why is it so hard for us to feel like we have to achieve those goals through just the spiritual work? Like, it's weird even for me to sit and evaluate that, right? Um, I want financial security. Okay, well, if Spirit says here, do it this way, it'll be easier in the 3D, right? Why do we need that control of like, no, it has to come through you, Spirit, take care of me, like,
So when you said spirit do it this way, I saw this little like thing fly behind you, like go down into your hand.
oh wow.
You have to watch that back. Or I don't know how many minutes are we in? 17 minutes or whatever. You have to watch it back in that because it was like this little orb that kind of like went down over your shoulder towards your hand.
I have seen them in a lot of the videos I do, so thank you.
You're welcome.
Yeah.
Um, you're right about a lot of that, and I think for me, a lot of this has been tied up in uh, a bit of ego, like wanting to be seen a certain way, wanting to be seen as valued and like someone of importance, and then like making an impact and wanting to be, I don't know, just wanting. But then I think it's also been tied with like what I feel at a deeper level, a soul level, like what I've been here to do. And especially when the Akashic Records came in and I'm receiving readings and people are like, you know, you're supposed to be on big stages and you're supposed to, and it's like, okay, this is what I've been kind of circling around. And for me, my whole entrepreneurial journey hasn't been 100% spiritual work from conscious,
True, true.
right?
Yeah.
Like,
Uh-huh.
I started as a life coach and then a sales coach and then a speaker author coach. And, it was only really the past few years that I got more into the spiritual side or the spiritual coach or mentor or gift side of it.
Hmm.
Um, so for me, I think the entrepreneur thing is just like, I know there's something more for me and it feels like I'm settling in a job. But I think that that's kind of, that story is maybe not relevant anymore because I'm literally coaching people every day,
Right, right, right.
and I'm making an impact in this other way. Um, so I think that that's kind of what's coming into alignment where I'm, like I said, my business side's been lagging, like I've been mad, like, why, having more of that around the business and debt and money and mad and blah, 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 where it's like, okay, let it go, which kind of is like why I'm like, you know what, let go of all the things I thought it was going to be, let go. I mean, I still think that what I'm doing in my business is still very much in alignment with what's coming through me, but the way in which I do it or what I expect from it.
Yes,
Because
yes,
I'm like, you know what, wouldn't it be cool if I made any amount, honestly, but wouldn't it be cool if I made, fucking $1 million a year and I had a full time job that I love? Like, wouldn't that be kind of cool to be like, I don't know, I like this job and I make $1 million a year. I don't know. And it's not even about the
right.
million. I just mean like, what if I made this amount that like breaks the mold of what's supposed to be you leave your job when you make this amount?
Right,
Like, what
right.
if this was a hobby and I just find something that I love and I impact lives in the way that I do?
Yeah,
A retreat or two a year, that's so easy to do with having a full-time job, right?
yeah,
Building the community up and like building up that and creating space
yeah,
for how else you can impact with your time and energy.
yep.
But for me, I want to step out of the like, I don't know, constantly having to fill shit. That's
Well,
exhausting to
yeah. And would you be filling a retreat if you weren't working and doing one every month? Like there's
me.
the
Hmm.
balance there. So we were supposed to be talking about pedestals and spiritual teachers on pedestals that we put
Yeah.
on pedestals, but I think we're actually talking about how we put spirituality in general on a pedestal from a much bigger, like, spirit's supposed to take care of me. Spirit's supposed to take care of me with spiritual things, right? All of those, like, yeah, we're coming off the pedestals. I think that's good.
Well, I think there's also all of this in because even as I said, like the ego of wanting to be seen as valuable and like, look, I am valuable. Like people are telling me that these channelings are so powerful. Why is nobody seeing it? And like just wanting to be seen in a way. Um, on my end, just that internal because I wanted to be validated through money coming in my business,
Mhm, mhm.
even though I was getting validation in 17,000 other ways,
Right.
right? Or people saying, oh, you can't run a business spiritually because nobody really wants that. And I'm like, but I literally, every single person that I watch that I've invested my life savings in, like every single person that I've invested my life savings in
Is
is
doing
the
it.
shit
Yeah.
that I'm trying to put out there. So I think for me, the pedestal thing maybe showed up in ways that I didn't realize because I think that there's like a level of putting spiritual people or gurus on a pedestal where there is a slice of the population that lives and dies and breathes by what so and so says or what this channeled
Hmm.
entity says or whatever. And that is like one form of pedestal.
And I have a question about that actually for you because, um, one of the things that I have seen a lot in the spiritual community is we have these like top level, top earner gurus and spiritual leaders that, as you say, people are talking about and learning from and spending money with, right?
Mm-hmm.
Um, do you think that there is awareness in some of their foundational businesses, right? That in order for them to be successful, they have to keep people coming back and they have to keep people kind of lower than they are so that they will keep spending money and looking up to them and talking about how great they are. Or are they
Mm.
really just that great, right?
But these kind of things are harder for me because I think that what is the word for it? Idealistic side of me is like, yeah, but it shouldn't be that way because
No,
if
it
you're
should not.
right, right, like if
Right.
your relationship is and da 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 da, so there's a part of me that goes, well, I wonder if it's just the dynamic that's built into the culture
Mhm.
of leader, teacher, guru, where that dynamic, even if that person, to see, we could have two different conversations, but I'll say the first part, right? Where that person is sharing. here's these powerful messages coming through me. And by nature of this person putting themselves out there and having the confidence to put themselves out there, it just by nature of that creates this dynamic where it's easier for the person receiving to come in from a place of like, what is that? Like that patriarchal, like, okay, dad, what do you need me to do?
Exactly. Spirit
Okay,
daddy. Yep.
mom. Yeah, like, what do you need
Yeah.
me to do? Like this kind of like hierarchy that happens, right? And so there's that, but then also I guess you could have the conversation being like, well, if they're that spiritual guru'd up, wouldn't they have the awareness that that was what was happening? And it makes me wonder, like, how would you be able to, from a mass perspective, create the space that creates equality? But also, it makes me wonder if some of that's just part of capitalism and how things go. And, like maybe that's part of why I've struggled. It's kind of when you brought that up, I'm like, maybe that's why I've struggled because those are some of the things I don't want to create.
Like I was gonna just bring that exactly that up. Anytime that I've talked to you and we've talked about this, like our goals have been to empower people to have these connections and these spiritual experiences kind of with spirit directly and on their own, right? You're teaching people how to read the Akashic records, which is going to be direct competition to what you're charging people money to do, right?
Mm-hmm.
And the so there is like a line and a challenge in spiritual business, I think, to like how much do you sacrifice in the empowerment of people in order to meet the 3D world's definition of success, and how many people struggle with that, right? Um, I do think that there are tendencies, and I don't even know that it's necessarily the teacher's fault, but there are like when I teach somebody tarot, right? If 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 they look at me as if I am the end all be all in tarot knowledge, then when their readings aren't as quote unquote good as mine, they're either going to pay to learn a new modality, right? Or they're going to pay for another tarot course, or they're going to, like there's the focus I think that sometimes we miss is that spirit teaches and spirit aligns, and spirit wants to co-create with us as we started from the beginning, right? And if we don't give space for that because we're constantly chasing modalities or these gurus or these pedestals, even for ourselves, so that we can hopefully one day get there, right? I think that there is, I don't want to call it a corruption, but maybe there's an energetic feedback loop there. But what is so weird is when I look at that feedback loop energetically, like spirit doesn't care. Like they're going to allow that to continue, and I haven't quite figured out why. So if you want to be corrupt and make a ton of money and hold people back and then kind of enslave them to your Akashic record readings, I think you could do that. And I think that's really strange, but it's something to look out for.
I think there's another nuance here, perhaps. And I've thought about this before of, that journey of chasing, looking for answers, uh, whatever it is, needing help, guidance, fill in the blank. I think that while you and I may see it from a different perspective now, and even you saying, okay, it's corrupt, even that I was like, well, I don't know, is it? I don't know, right? But to stick with the first nuance is um, that would be part of the evolution of where someone's at, right? So if someone hasn't come into their own awareness of that, right? This awareness of like, man, I don't need to chase things anymore. What if that is part of the learning? And what if those who fulfill those things are contributing to the learning?
It is funny how you're listening to the same spirits I am. Because I was just going to say, I don't want to blame the seeker.
Mm-hmm.
But there is a bit of, a seek. We all, as human beings, start by seeking answers outside of ourselves,
Mm-hmm.
right? And then it is our job to learn through these things, to be taught how to listen to that internal self. And that is a big leap, right? that's a big change in how you approach not only the world, but your own self. So,
I think another example of this is in my health coaching. Because I coach such a wide range of people from 18 to 67, 68, from all different backgrounds, walks of life, careers, um, learnings, education, self awareness, fill in the blank, right? It's not that everybody who's there has like paid me money and they want to be there. They're there because this is part of what their insurance said. In order for them to receive a weight loss medication, they have to come into this program and receive coaching.
hmm,
So, not everybody, you know what I'm saying? Like it's a wide range of people. And I've thought about this because there's some people that I meet with that the conversation is appropriate to kind of talk about energetics or to bring them into awareness of their heart or to help them begin to like create the foundations with themselves over the rules of fitness and eating and stuff that we've heard in the health and wellness space.
hmm,
Um, and then there's people where like that is nowhere near the conversation that they're ready for, that is
right.
even available to them, that they want to have. And I especially see it when it comes to people managing stress, dealing with stress. I watch, observe, hold space for people who are fighting to keep the stress in their lives. It's like, hey, there might be another way. They're like, no, there's not. Hey, but there might be another way. No, there's not. There absolutely is no other way. Well, meanwhile, the person I talked to right after them, like, has discovered the way to
Right.
help them. So I think that there's this aspect of, you know, when you're in it, you know, you keep fighting for that. And it makes me even wonder if the guru can even help because if the person is so in it,
Hmm,
it
hmm,
doesn't matter. The, you know, like that connection. I think the discernment that maybe you and I are talking about are if this person is aware that this person, you know what I'm saying, has come to the level of awareness, are they willing to say, no, I will not continue this service with you and let them go? I don't know if that's, you know, to have
sure,
that
sure.
like, I mean, which is harder to do if you're just selling books and courses that are self study, right?
Right.
But
Well,
if
and
you're one on one,
yeah, I really think this is kind of interesting too, because something that you're saying here is pinging my awareness on like this level of conversation that we tend to have inter practitioners, right? About
mm-hmm.
surface level work and the depth that we want to bring people to, right? We want to be like the most deeply awesome people to let people get way down into the, but what we see, I think, is that there's a lot of success at the surface. And this that you're talking about is probably a huge part of that because as soon as people do begin to heal and to change how they view the world and to accept that there are other ways, right? That's when that deeper work starts to unravel and they start to be able to get down into those places. But there are way fewer people willing to do that than uh, would pay for a course on how to manage stress, right?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And so it does also make me wonder, you know, as you're looking at practitioners who you deem as successful, like, are they sticking to what we would in the industry call the surface level? Because that is a very important work to start people on that path, right? But maybe also more financially lucrative, I guess. And so we have this desire to go deep, but at the same time, we need to be able to start. And yeah, and that could also be an interesting balance point in business, I think. What do you think? Am I weird?
No, you aren't. You aren't. And it's like we were talking about the pedestal thing and it's interesting. It makes me wonder if we even at some degree maybe we're approaching the pedestal thing from a surface level when really there's just of course, see maybe this is an example. You and I could sit here and we could totally have a drama filled conversation about pedestals and screw this person. It's not that we would say people, but like screw this idea, screw that idea. I can't believe this is happening, which we kind of did a little bit, but that even is an example of like a surface level conversation when really there's this depth to this conversation where it's like, yes, I mean, yeah, that's part of it, but that's not like really the whole thing. I mean, that's an aspect, and we can see the distortions Or even you could pull in examples of like the hot yoga guy who then kind of turned it into a cult and was using the power to manipulate with sexuality and get closer to me. Like we can see where certain things get distorted and manipulated, where it goes into that direction.
Hmm.
You know, so it really makes me wonder, okay, what's the beef with all of this? What's the beef with it? Is it that we're witnessing like people getting hurt? Maybe is it because we got hurt, you know, like but then what is the other way? And then it circles back into, well, who are we to say that there's another way? What if we just honor our slice of the pie and invite people who are ready to come into our slice of the pie?
And I will be the first to admit that, the religious trauma in my life has definitely made me aware of these people who are on pedestals, like who are claiming to be these super spiritual people dictating how spirituality is supposed to work. Like I'm
Mm-hmm.
hyper aware of that because of my trauma. I have no
Mm-hmm.
problem admitting that, right?
Mm-hmm.
Um, but yeah, exactly. So I do think, and those spiritual methods work for so many people that I need to be okay saying, this is my slice of the pie, right? And if that works for you to constantly chase, to constantly be told how your interaction with spirit's going to go, um, like I know even saying it like that makes it sound negative. I don't mean it to be. I don't want it to be. But there is language and nuance and how I need to communicate that better and how I can do better when I'm sharing that with other people, right?
And I think going full circle to what I was sharing about a job, that for me, that like slice the pie, which this is just how I see it impacting. It's like, all right, if I'm meant to work with people who are at a certain place in their spiritual journey, right? And if I'm meant to honor a certain level of depth, how can I create a space that is nourishing and fun and spacious for me and for them?
Yes.
Because I think where my distortions have come in is everything else we were talking about, like being mad that it wasn't happening the way I wanted it to, wanting a certain level of money, but then feeling like, God, I got to market in order to market. I got to like market to this surface level thing. And like just getting pulled in all these directions
Hmm.
where what I've been feeling emerging is is not even, it's like stepping out of the teacher guru like state. It's more of like what I feel is like a coming together of everything I've ever done, of how can I create this space that is a longer term commitment, because I'm kind of sick of doing these like one off, 3 week, 1 month, and they're fun, but then I'm like, okay, well, bye, see you later.
Yeah. Yeah.
So it's like this longer space where you're committing to 9 months or 12 months, like you're committing to a period of time. And this space is more of like mystery school meets mastermind meets coaching meets cacao ceremony meets retreat meets
Mhm.
channeling meets whatever. And where we're on this journey and this transformation together so that the people in this space have a similar transformation or journey around wanting to go deeper with their connection with presence or with themselves or with their um, self trust, learning who they are, right? Where that's like, there's like a backbone to it. And
Mhm.
there is a level of 3D-ness to it because we meet every Tuesday or we
Sure.
meet once a month so that we live lives and we need to schedule stuff in. But also, there's a space where I can, as the guide, as the holder, be in the space of co creation with the others in there, because then I can channel, then I can guide, then I can coach, then I can reflect. Everything is available there and it can mold and go where it goes. So if I said present circles on Sundays and it's like, yo, these aren't really feeling right for the group, what this group is feeling more is we need to have this money ritual ceremony that I've never done before, but I can feel it coming through very like solidly from spirit. So let's go there.
Yeah.
Let's go there and have this conversation.
You have said so many words that have drawn so many connections. From the very beginning of our conversation, we said that our relationships to spirit are changing to where, like, I feel like they're not dictating, they're wanting to co-create. They don't want to give a reading, they want to have a conversation, right? And then
Mm-hmm.
you just literally said, as a host or as a facilitator for this, I want to not have to just give people the answer. I want to co-create with the group. I want a commitment. I want a relationship with these people, right? I feel like that is exactly what spirit is asking of us right now too. And so
Mhm.
for us to show up in the way that spirit is now showing up, yeah, it's cool. Yeah,
Like what? And
yeah,
it's hard because it breaks, I don't know, the rules and the barriers of how business is supposed to be, and like where I'm still a little bit tangled up a little bit is like money and what to charge. And because I think it's because if I could say trauma, since it's like I've done things in the past that were really fun, but I discovered that they were not priced right. So when I held High Vibe Soul Tribe, I really liked that experience. But because what happened with that is I see, I could make this about me, but I think it was more than that. But it's like, oh, I didn't keep promoting it and inviting people in. So hypothetically, at $22, $33 a month, if you've got 100 people or whatever, that creates an energy exchange that feels
sure.
good. But with
Worth it.
10
Yeah,
people or 5 people or 7 people, it just is different,
it's work.
right?
It's work for yes.
And you're doing a lot of things for not very much, and it's
Yeah,
draining.
yeah.
And so I think that that's kind of what I'm hitting with this, because it's finding this balance between, you know, making sure that it is accessible to those who are meant to be in it,
Mhm.
but also that it doesn't, I don't get so excited and the desire to fill it now because I am excited. I can feel this energy. Let's go. What's the easiest way that people will say yes? Yeah, $199, $50, $7. Like what's the amount that feels like yes? And it hits those like, woo, yay, people are in. And then what?
Yeah,
Right.
yeah.
And so that's where I'm at right now of just like, what do I do with this?
I
Right.
have
And
the
it's just pausing.
100% the exact same. Like I have told people, like I'm no longer booking these formal kind of readings, but I would love to have conversations with people and see what shows up with spirit. And I've been playing with that with a lot of people, right? But at the end of those conversations, when they're going, "This is so nourishing. I really had enjoyed this thing," like how do I then package it into this thing that fits into the business mold? Yeah, I totally don't get it either. So if
Yeah.
anybody out there knows, like, let us
Right.
know. Yeah.
Right. And I think the conversation I had with the person who had said yes to the presence circles, we had that conversation, like, what would you like? And we came into this place that felt really good. And so what I've been playing with, and I'm not saying this is my business model, this is just an idea I've been playing with, is like, what if part of my growth and my learning is learning how to receive at any amount?
Mm,
And so, for example, what if with this person or someone else, I create this space where it's like, okay, here's what I'm going to give. There's an agreement, so we're on the same page. But also, what if I allow that person to like donate or to give based on what is available to them,
mhm.
what they feel is in alignment? You know, Zoom is really liking my thumbs up.
Yeah.
So, like what is available, what is in alignment to them, right? So, for example, then I could maybe on my end play with, like, let's say that they send me $30. How do I feel receiving $30? Right?
Right.
Can I come into that gratitude and be like, wow, this is amazing, right? But then also, what if they send me $1,000 or $2,000?
Mm,
Because that became available and that's what felt in alignment to them. And how would I feel receiving that? Because that would be a higher amount than maybe what I would have priced something at for, a one off or whatever, the
mhm.
thing is. So, but also I know there's a lot of distortions that can come with like donation based things because people are like, I don't know, what do I give? And I don't want to, but also I feel like with what we were talking about, if you stay in your lane, if these are the people you're meant to work with and you're going to grow and evolve with them,
Yep.
what else is possible when those conversations are had where everybody's on the same page and they know what they're saying yes to?
Yep.
I don't know. And maybe
Yeah.
that's part of it. Experimentation. I mean, my human design as a manifesting generator is all about experimentation.
Right. Right. Yeah.
So I don't know. We'll see what happens. I have not officially erased my retreat from the calendar, but like I think I'm going to. It's hard to say that because I'm like, April, I can still feel it. There's like that part of me that's like, I can still feel it.
Yeah. Yeah.
But I'm like, let's get real. What if I just allow it to be what it is? What if it fills itself and I don't have to fill it?
Right.
I've already created it, so it's not that it's not. available,
Hmm.
you know.
Yeah. What if it wasn't tied to a date? I mean, that's hard to get people to commit to, but or we think it is, but what if it's not? What if it's just I'll do this when I have 12 people interested? Yeah, or
I
something.
mean, if you think
I don't
about
know.
the premise of a mystery school, and I don't know a ton about a mystery school because I've never been in one, but
Mm.
there is a bit of mystery to a mystery school.
Yeah, yeah.
And if you're committed to the transformation and the experience of the container,
Hmm.
what else is possible
True. Yeah.
with the right people? Because if you talk about me with the job, let's just say hypothetically, there's three, four, five, six people who all feel that this space would be in pure alignment for them. God, what kind of magic can be co-created when three, four, five, six people are on this similar journey and path
Hmm.
and open to whatever is presenting itself? And it's not necessarily about business and money and all of that. I mean, still those things would come into place because everybody's got to make the decisions that work with their life. But what if whatever was in alignment to support the transformation was what was offered?
Hmm.
Because that could be sleeping in the mud in the Amazon, or that could be going to a really high end luxury retreat in wherever, Morocco or something, like
Hmm.
I don't know. It makes me wonder what else is there, but also then, that first part of the marketing, like how, and that's a question that I want to stop asking is like, how do you get people into that? Because it's not about
Right.
getting people into it, but I think that that's kind of like that old wound
Yeah.
talking. Like, how does this work? Well, what if that's not the question? What if the question is like, how do I connect to the energy and hold the space and have conversations and invite people into it?
And I do think it's fair to say, and what kind of energy do I want to hold? Maybe you don't want to lead retreats and sleeping in the mud in the Amazon, and that's okay, right? It should be. Yeah. But if you're saying I only want high-end resorts because I want the $20,000 price tag per person, like then maybe, yeah, there's, yeah,
That's a tough one.
yeah, because again, I can see why that's not wrong and why Spirit's still going to support you, right? Like, so yeah, yeah.
Well, and it's, yeah, because I've got friends who charge high price tag stuff, and
Mhm.
I think I've wanted nothing more than that for many, many years, to charge high price tag stuff, um, to build a business that felt easier, supposedly,
Right.
you know, um,
But that goes
to feel
back to
worthy.
is it easier or is it about like you were saying with the offering of what people are offering and how would you feel at $30 versus 1,000, right? Does it
Hmm.
go back to that? Does it, yeah, the worthiness thing's interesting too, right?
Well, you talk about pedestal, you could even bring in an angle of pedestals to like what program or system or person have you put on a pedestal
Yep.
thinking that that is, you know what I'm saying? Like I get to say certain things of the coaching industry has been on a pedestal.
Sure. Yeah.
And I mean, that's a separate comment. I'll tell that later. But yeah, like having that kind of stuff on a pedestal.
Hmm.
And this is what I'm aspiring to. And I think that what's
Yep.
happening for me is a lot of this is breaking. And it's like, okay, well, if that's not there, then what is? Wait, what if
Yep.
nothing was there? Okay,
What would
F
I
it.
do with my co-creation with Spirit? Yeah.
Yeah. Any final thoughts? I can feel the energy kind of coming to a close. Any final thoughts that you have?
No, I really do think that that idea that um, the way that Spirit is showing up for us all right now is also the way we should be showing up is huge for me. Like that was so big. I'm gonna go have to think on that for a really long time.
Well, our
Yeah.
next episode will be in 2 months from now because
Yeah.
Rick will be
Because
pondering
I'll finally
it.
figure it out.
When we return, he will share with you the secrets of the universe. Spirit Daddy has all the answers. That's why we go to Spirit Daddy.
That's right, because I'm on a pedestal. Just kidding.
I mean, even how'd you
No.
pick that name? How'd you pick Spirit Daddy? Did we talk about that
Oh,
yet?
there was something that somebody had said about like that dad energy of answering the spirit questions, and I was like, oh, that's really funny. So I can lean into that.
Oh my God. I love it. Well, it plays in well to this conversation because we talked about the whole daddy thing. Like, Daddy, tell me the answers, you
Yep,
know?
yep, yep. Is daddy even on a pedestal? Probably. Should he be? That's a good question.
Sometimes. Because if
Maybe.
daddy
Yeah,
is playing the role of God, then
sure.
God might have the answers.
Yeah, yeah. But also, if that answer does not resonate with you, you should not be taking the outside answer over the inside one. Right. Don't chase.
I don't chase, I attract. Everything I
There we go.
want, I already got on the inside. There's a song by Monita, I think, and that's kind of how she sings. I don't chase, I attract. Everything I want, I've already got. It's like this
On the
whispery
inside. On
on
the
the
inside.
inside.
How do we get it on the outside? Yeah.
Oh, funny. All right, man. Good connecting. Good
You
chatting with
too.
you. And I guess y'all just stay tuned for the next episode because guess what? We are co-creating and we get to decide when it is. Spirit is not deciding.
But I don't doubt that they will show up.
That's so true.
Yeah.
All right, see you guys.
All right.
Bye.